Sure.
There you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome everyone. We're delighted that so many of you are willing to join us this afternoon. And this is an educational session, as you know from your flyer there, and we have 1 hour with a lot of information to share. So Tara is our timekeeper, and you will hear her cue us when we have just a few minutes left. I'm Judy Rosenthal, and welcoming you on behalf of the Ambassadors Committee. And just a quick introduction to let you know what we mean by continuing the conversation. Some of you may already know that, but let me tell you that we started this committee in November, about 2018, when we realized, both staff and residents were beginning to realize, that as much as people who were already well settled in independent living knew about many parts of the campus, there were many parts that they really didn't know about or weren't aware of programming and options for residents across the board. And it was beginning to feel as though we were living in perhaps with 3 different silos, which was not the intent of Newbridge. Newbridge is this whole community, this whole campus. And so we sat down, a group of us, both combined staff, residents of independent living, assisted living, and long-term care represented, to try and to think about ways that we could open things up, let people know what's going on in the various areas of the campus, and encourage everyone to think proactively in an attempt to make sure that your decisions and your thinking, as we all thought a lot about what it was like to move to Newbridge, and is this the best place for us in independent living? And then what will be the best, and what is the best place for us to live our most fruitful and productive life as the years go on. Well, the years have gone on, and since 2018, as we all know, our work was very much interrupted by COVID, so that we really didn't continue with our meetings, and in some ways found out that sure, the silos had their place, because we were able to separate ourselves in the community so that we were able to do some things, but limiting interaction. However, fortunately, things have settled down somewhat, and we resumed our committee work this year in the early fall to decide what kind of activities we could plan that would continue what we had already started, thus continuing the conversation. So that's a quick view of the background, and I can answer questions for you later on if you wish. Just ground rules. Tara is managing a chat line, and so if you have questions as we do continue the program, you can certainly do that. This program is set up today as really an educational attempt to let you know about 2 of the newer programs that are working and have been established since we first started our work in 2018. And you will be hearing from speakers about that. We are all on a time limit. And again, Tara is going to give us a heads up for all the speakers if we need to move on. And
Judy,
the other thing, yeah.
1 minute.
Okay, thank you. So perfect. The other thing I just need to say is that this is a broad educational program, not necessarily set up to, and not at all set up to answer individual questions. That can be done in the future, questions in the chat, but not today. Today, we're asking you to just have your questions ready, but make sure that they respect the information of everyone. And now, as I was just cued, where I'm quickly going to introduce the members that you'll be hearing from today. And we'll start with the first one, who is Hannah Godon. This is doesn't mean anyone's first or second, it just first on the list. And Hannah is actually the care coordinator and case manager, clinical case manager for Houseworks. So I'm not going to go into your whole bio, Hannah, but I'll let you speak for yourself and introduce you to everyone. Hannah Godon. Okay, Hannah.
Thank you so much, Judy, and thank you all so much for having me jump in and chat with you guys today. So as Judy mentioned, I'm Hannah. I'm the clinical case manager for Houseworks. So we work hand in hand with Newbridge and Hebrew Senior Life. Specifically, we have a wonderful partnership together. Houseworks is an independent home care agency. We're one of the largest independent home care agencies. So I'm here today to sort of chat about some pros and cons of having the in-home care or what we provide at Houseworks. So some of the benefits of having in-home care, and probably my favorite part about it, is enabling our residents to age in place. So if someone needs a little bit of help in the home, we can have a private duty caregiver come in and help with anything from just a couple of hours to 24/7 care. We sort of run the gamut in terms of the services that we provide. Another really great benefit is enabling residents who are couples to stay there together in terms of being able to age in place, both with husband and wife or anything in between. It can be more cost effective if you're staying within the independent living environment for just a little bit of help. We do, specifically with Houseworks, and part of my role here is to offer an individualized care plan. So I would come in and assess the needs and then come up with a care plan to have the caregivers go in specifically. Something that is beneficial with a private agency too is that we can have more of a structured schedule. So depending on what the needs are, certain times of day, things like that, we can sort of structure the schedule around that as well. Some of the challenges in terms of having private caregivers versus wraparound care would be, as some care needs increase, it can be expensive. I'll just say that a lot of our clients have, it's just private pay, although some long-term care insurance does cover it. Some other things too is that we are technically deemed as non-clinical staff. So as the care needs increase, if it is specific nursing care that needs to be done, we can help support that, but that wouldn't necessarily be within our realm. Something I did want to mention too is that with private duty care is, some people can get so accustomed to having the private caregiver in their home, which is wonderful, that they can get so used to that And then when it's time to sort of make that transition to, let's say, assisted living or long-term care, it can be challenging. It can be challenging when you're so used to having that same person, taking care of you, to then, make that next jump can certainly be a little bit more difficult in that sense. So I thank you guys again so much, and I'm open to all questions.
We're happy to take questions now. Hannah, you have 3 more minutes in your section. So we'll allow for the 3 minutes of questions to unfold, and then we will move to the next speaker. Okay?
Sounds great. Another thing worth mentioning too is, which some people might not know about, is we do offer like sort of some unique opportunities to enhance people's lives. So we've had caregivers, attend weddings with residents for their family members. We, can help in some more unique ways in terms of, changing out catheter bags or assisting someone to appointments, some of those sort of one-off type of instances other than just providing personal care. So something worth noting is we're a little bit unique in what we can provide.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh. Thank you, Hannah. And we'll move along. And if you have questions, again, just put them in the chat right now or jot them down. We'll have hopefully a few minutes at the end of all of the program for you to share them. The next speaker is Rhonda Glyman, who many of you perhaps have known in her various ways that she has been connected and working at Hebrew Senior Life. And she is currently now the Executive Director of Assisted Living. And Rhonda, you're on to talk about both assisted living and anything you want to share. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much for the kind introduction, Judy. And hello, everyone. I'm so happy to be here with all of you and very happy to be back on the Newbridge campus. At Newbridge and across Hebrew Senior Life, we believe in the importance of providing the right care in the right place at the right time, and are so fortunate to have 3 distinct models of care on our campus: independent living, assisted living, and long-term care. Today, I'm happy to share with you a brief overview of assisted living as compared with independent living and answer any questions you may have, as each offers unique advantages. What independent living and assisted living have in common is a focus on each resident's needs, strengths, interests, and aspirations. We see each person as an individual and offer support based on what matters most to them. 3 key areas that make assisted living an attractive option are its accessible community design, 3 meals per day, and enhanced programs and services, all of which allow residents to enjoy social connections and live their best life. Just a little more on each. So first, accessible community design. In independent living, common spaces and amenities are spread out across the campus, as you know, while in assisted living, we have a smaller footprint and common areas and amenities are centrally located for greater accessibility. Second, 3 meals per day. In assisted living, breakfast, lunch, and dinner are prepared and cooked to order in our Meadowview dining room. Chef Patrick and his team prepare a variety of delicious entrees each day, and most residents eat together in the dining room, as meals are such an important time for social connections. Last but not least, assisted living offers enhanced programs and services 7 days a week based on each resident's needs and interests. Examples of entertainment and learning opportunities include live concerts, lectures, and cultural arts, along with a wide variety of spiritual life, fitness, and wellness programs, all very high quality as you enjoy in independent living, only offered more frequently throughout the week. The monthly fee also includes maintenance, housekeeping, and security, as well as nursing observation, 24/7 staffing, and up to 1 hour of personal assistance a day delivered by our certified nursing assistants. Our CNAs work under the direct supervision of a nurse and are highly trained to assist residents with activities of daily living, for example, bathing, dressing, grooming, and medication reminders that can be spread out in increments throughout the day. Also, the apartment space is well designed and offers a large walk-in closet in the bedroom, a large entryway closet, and a smaller kitchen, which allows more living space. You might be wondering about the financial aspects of assisted living. And you may know that assisted living is built around a rental model, and one-bedroom apartments run on average approximately $10,000 per month. While assisted living is an out-of-pocket expense, many people have long-term care insurance that covers some of the monthly fees, and the entire monthly fee is tax deductible. If assisted living is something you may want to consider, it's important for you to know that once an independent living member, always an independent living member. And that means that you are always welcome to participate fully in independent living programs, dining venues, and the broader community. So you might be wondering, what are some aspects, financial aspects of our beautiful independent living community? As you know, independent living requires both an entrance fee and a monthly fee. And while an independent living member cannot get their entrance fee back while living on the Newbridge campus, they can spend down their entrance fee if ever needed. If private care is needed, 1 hour of daily certified private care runs approximately $1,000 per month at $34.50 an hour. And there is often a 3 to 4 hour minimum, which can add up quickly. One worry I've heard from several independent living members is that their neighbors with private care often they see that they don't get out enough or spend time with their friends enough, and they really worry about them. When people need more help, some feel it's better to be in the milieu of the assisted living community so that they can socialize more easily. In assisted living, people's quality of life is often greatly improved as they are able to enjoy the social aspect of living in community. It's easier to make a new circle of friends because, again, the footprint of the assisted living community is smaller, and people don't have to worry about who they're eating with tonight, as our staff members know everyone so well, and we do our best to make sure that residents are seated with others with whom they share common interests. When considering assisted living, many people fear losing their independence. What we find, however, is that people gain their independence back and have more time to do what they love, including attending programs and spending more time with their family and friends. I've been asked by several independent living members and also their adult children if there's a way that they could get to know assisted living a little bit more before making a decision. And so our team has put our heads together, and I'm happy to share we've just developed a pilot program that would allow independent living residents to have full access to our monthly calendar of programs, unlimited access to the programs, and also meals in the Meadowview dining room. And that would come because there's a lot of staff time involved in getting to know the individual and making sure everything is set up properly. It would come with $1,000 monthly fee and would be allowed for up to 3 months. So it could be 1 month of trying it out, 2 months, or 3 months, up to you, anyone who would be interested. And it really is designed for someone who is serious about considering assisted living. For that reason, if at any time in the first 3 months you would decide, or your neighbor or your loved one would decide that they'd like to move to assisted living, the full fee for this pilot program would be applied to the first month's rent in assisted living. So that would all come back to you, and it might be a good way just to get to know us on a little bit more informal basis. So with that, I thank you for your kind attention and very happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Rhonda. That was a very concise and good presentation of what can be a complicated living arrangement and planning arrangement. And I guess that's one of the keys that we do want to get across, is that thinking about and knowing about all of the different options and support opportunities is really important. And just as we all did a lot of research before we moved to Newbridge, it's important to think ahead, because in all of these issues, it's not always, there is always the space available situation, and we have to remember that. So the more thinking you do and the more planning you do, then it makes it much easier for everyone.
Yes.
So with that, I'm going to introduce our next speaker, who is one of our two Mitches, Mitch Heller. And Mitch is the son of a resident of both assisted living, not independent living, assisted living, long-term care. And as the adult child, Mitch had a lot of time to both support his mom and also to learn, perhaps more than many of us, about the different activities and programs. So Mitch, I'll let you take the floor.
Thank you. Again, I'm Mitch Heller, and my mom, Minnie Heller, she was a very active widow in Brookline. She would go to programs at the JCC. She would go to other Hebrew Senior Life facilities to do programming several times a week. After a while, became clear that she needed a little bit more help. So we moved her to the traditional assisted living at Newbridge. And what we found was, it really was an independent living with a little bit of help. And it was exactly what she needed. And what she got, I can categorize in three ways. Number one was support. This is what we went there for. And she got an hour of support. As Rhonda said, she got an hour of support a day, mostly getting dressed. She had compression stockings, so she needed help. She was also deathly afraid of falling, so they helped her with showering. But other than that, she was ambulatory. She got around. She used a walker, but she got around by herself. She went to all meals. She went to programming. Also, while the support was for 1 hour a day, the support people were there all the time. And as Rhonda said, it's a small community. They know everybody. If somebody didn't show up for a program, or if somebody doesn't show up for a meal, they attempt to contact them, or they will go look in on them just to make sure everything's okay. So that was the support she got. The second thing she got was stimulation. The programming, everything that Rhonda said, it's in spades. So a typical day, my mom went down for breakfast. After breakfast, there was a program at 11 o'clock that was it was an intellectually stimulating program. They either did the New York Times crossword puzzle, or they did word jumble, or it was current events. And that was all led up to lunch at 12. And then after lunch was the major program of the day, was at 2 o'clock. And I don't know if things have changed, because my mother has been there for a few years, but at 2 o'clock, where they'd bring in a concert or a speaker, or people on the staff would run the program, whether it be TED Talks or with some discussion, or even a musical program that was run by them. It was constant. And then afterwards and before dinner, a group broke off and did Scrabble, or another group broke off and did bridge. And they went to dinner, and after dinner, there was a movie. And you could go if you wanted to, you could go, you didn't have to go, but it was definitely encouraged. And this programming was 7 days a week. And the last thing she got was camaraderie. As Rhonda said, it's a fairly small community and about 50 people. And I believe there's 50 apartments, or some have 2, so it might be slightly more than 50 people. People ate dinner together. They went to programs together. So it was very easy for my mom to make friends. And what I got was peace of mind. I knew that my mother was well taken care of, but she was also stimulated, and she was able to grow. I often told people at assisted living, because of you, I sleep at night. So after a few years, my mother's condition worsened. It was harder for her to get around. She became wheelchair bound. And then what we did was we went to Houseworks, and we hired aides from Houseworks. And my mother had 24/7 aides, and it was absolutely exactly what she needed. Every second of her care, it was taken care of. There were people with her just immediately, and everything was taken care of. But as my mother's condition worsened, what happened also, my mother was an incredible conversationalist, and she became very quiet and very introverted. And it was clear to everybody except for me. It was clear to all the professionals. It was clear to my wife. It was clear, I don't know if it was clear to my mother, that she needed to go to the next step, but it was not clear to me. So we eventually did move her to long-term care about a year and a half after we started with the aides, and about a year after she should have gone. And when we moved her to long-term care, what happened was, since the programming was exactly what she needed at that time, she perked up. Her quality of life went straight up, and she was in a much better place. But it was very, very hard for me to give up the aides, because I knew her every need was taken care of immediately. So moving her, which was scary at the time, and took me a year after she should have gone to wrestle with it, moving her ended up being exactly what she needed. And if I could sum up my experience, if you have a private aide that allows you or your loved one to continue to experience everything that they love, their friends, the programming, that's really healthy. If you have a private aide that becomes the substitute for living, it's probably time to look at the next level of care.
Mitch has 2 more minutes.
Wow, can you believe?
Do you want me to do a dance?
No, please. No, you don't
But
have to do anything else.
again, I can't say enough about the assisted living and the experience we had. I also can't say enough about long-term care and the experience we had. I started volunteering when my mother was at assisted living. I continued to volunteer when my mother was at long-term care, and I continue to volunteer today. As a matter of fact, the next time I go in, I hold a discussion group in long-term care, an in-depth discussion group about current events. COVID stopped it. I did it on Zoom for a while. I went back in. COVID stopped it again. I'm going back in next Tuesday, and I do it every Tuesday. So I really do experience. I did get an experience for both assisted living and long-term care. But again, the transition is what I wanted to get across, even though it's not the transition from independent living to assisted living, it is a transition, and it was similar. And again, I, as the major support person, hesitated for a year longer than I should have.
Good summary, Mitch. Thank you very much. And now I'm going to introduce our last participant, our last speaker, another Mitch Freeman, and he has a very different story to tell. So without my taking time, Mitch, you're on. Are you there?
Yeah, I experienced a lot of the same thing that Mitch did. I had to move in here because my wife's situation. We had to move right into assisted living, and and I looked at other places here, so I had somewhat of an idea. But it turned out better than I thought. The room was well designed, really nice. There's plenty of room, as long as you didn't move your whole house in. And so we did that. And the thing is, we ate the meals. We got to know a lot of the people. And it was very nice. My wife was more able to talk and participate. So she met a lot of people that were interesting. Everyone was nice. The staff was really nice. They got to know our name quickly. And time I was there, I only knew a couple of their names, but they all knew me and my wife's name. And it made it very welcoming for every meal when they came there. So that was very good. And the thing that I focused on there was the activities, and the quality of the activities that they had in assisted living was what really impressed me. They were meaningful, and I stuck around for them. And I just thought, and 7 days a week, they had good programs. And a lot of the programs I saw some of those people doing in Great Meadow Hall that night, even they were there, some of the musicians. So it was that kind of quality. Then when her health deteriorated, we had to go to long-term care. Well, like Mitch said, it was tough, but me and her family, it was a second marriage there, and they were pretty demanding. We all went to sleep at night knowing she was well taken care of and safe, safer than I could do in my apartment. So that was a big thing off the thing. And then the quality of the programs, again, they had them busy all the day. You know, I being here, I could walk over, and I stayed for some of the programs. They were really good, and I took it to some of them they had. I don't want to go into detail. They were there, the cooking ones, and the afternoon classes, and the staff, again, was very caring. It's a tough place to be for working conditions, but these people stepped up to the plate, and they were very, very good and compassionate staff. So we had a good feeling every time we did that. And now I'm here at moving back to independent, which is nice, but I really enjoyed my time at assisted living, being there with my wife. As a matter of fact, they had to kick me out of assisted living back here because I was enjoying it too much. So, but they really run it's a good show there in assisted living and long-term care, which is a tough one. Really, really impressed with what was going on. 24-hour quality care. Can't say enough. And Mitch I don't want to duplicate what he says, but I felt comfortable at night knowing she was there.
Thanks, Mitch. And just to clarify that Mitch did use the route a little bit differently. While your wife was in assisted living, you were both together in an apartment in assisted living. Am I right?
That's correct. Yeah.
So Mitch really was able to move in, and that's how they made the transition. His transition then became moving from a spouse in assisted living back to long-term care, and has been, so as I said, it's a different road than most people have experienced. There is the opportunity for couples to be together. There aren't as many, but that apartments and so forth, but that's something to know about, think about, research about, as if your interests are in that area.
Right. When things changed, I was able to move into independent when she was there long term. So you can, if you move in with your spouse in assisted living and you're in good shape, that doesn't mean you can't make the reverse move. So that's an important thing to know too.
Yes, definitely. Thank you very much. So I think, Tara, we're doing well with our time frame.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
do, one thing I didn't say when, in welcoming you all, that this is really a very important date that we'll all remember as 2/22/22. And as Tara told me this morning, it's only going to happen in another 200 years that, right, that we'll have this date. So certainly a day to remember. Tara, I'm going to send the baton back to you.
Mhm.
If you have questions you would like to share, answer.
Sure. The few people sent questions in advance, and I will just read them off now, and the appropriate person can jump in and answer them. So the first one was, is there an assessment process to live in assisted living? Rhonda, you want to take that? Oops.
Or you're on mute.
There you go.
Okay.
Thank
Good.
you. Very happy to answer the question. Yes, there is an assessment by our director of nursing or our manager of nursing and memory care, depending on which part of the assisted living community you would be moving to. And it's in person, one-on-one, a family member can be there. And the goal is really to find out, again, what are your needs, what are your strengths, interests, and aspirations, and make sure that where you be moving to is the appropriate fit and that you have the appropriate supports.
Mhm. Rhonda, there's another assisted living question. So
Sure.
you're on a roll. And
Okay.
this one, is there a sweet spot for considering a move and then transitioning to assisted living? I think that refers to timing.
Again, I guess I would start with it's an individual decision and each person is going to think differently about the timing. We would love for you to move as soon as you feel it would be beneficial to you. Our staff is highly trained, very caring, compassionate, and capable and ready to help you become part of the community, be comfortable with the community. And I think it's always good to meet your neighbors. Some of the independent living residents who've moved most recently have commented that it's nice to make friends and really become part of the community as soon as possible. So again, individual decision, but why not?
Yeah, okay. Thank you. This is a question probably for Mitch Heller. So don't get too comfortable there in your kitchen, Mitch. They're going to make you work again. The question is, how did you have the conversation about a move with your parents?
Well, I was a lucky one because when my mother was home in Brookline and something happened and she was in the hospital, and I said to her, Mom, you ought to think about moving to assisted living. And her answer was, I think you're right. So that one was easy. You probably should ask my wife for this other one when we decided to move her from assisted living, where she was incredibly happy, incredibly entrenched. She was there for 5 years. And I finally, again, after a year later than I should have, decided to make the move to long-term care. I stayed up at night for a week thinking about how I was going to talk to my mom about it. And I spoke to Tara. I knew Tara from the day my mom moved in. And I also got some advice from Rabbi Karen Landy, who was also somebody who helped me a lot. And they both told me, tell her that morning, because she had some moderate amount of dementia. And they said, if you tell her 3 days in advance, which may sound like a nice thing to do, if you tell her 3 days in advance and she's upset, she'll be upset for 3 days. If she's okay with it, it doesn't matter. If you tell her, say, hey, Mom, in an hour you're moving, if she's upset, she'll be upset for an hour. And so I sat there. It was this big production. The aide from Houseworks, who she loved and we considered family, and we still do. We still keep in touch with her. And my wife and I went, and we knew about an hour later that the social worker from long-term care was going to come help bring mom over. I said, Mom, do you realize how you're going to the doctor, you know, every week? And that you need more medical care than they can provide you here. And that was the reason to move to long-term care. It was the medical care. You need more medical care. And so you're going to move to long-term care. And she made this face and she went, I guess I have no choice. And so I got lucky. I didn't have somebody who fought me on it. For a second, she wasn't happy, but she fit right in. And she's somebody who made friends immediately. We said to Tara, because Tara was the salesperson at the time when my mother moved to assisted living, and my wife, this is the daughter-in-law, said to Tara, I know everybody tells you this, but you're going to love my mother-in-law.
Mm-hmm.
And I think everybody did. And so I got lucky. That's how I did it. I took a lot of advice from the experts, Rabbi Karen, who knew my mother well and knew long-term care well and knew assisted living well. So, and Tara as well. And those are the two main people, the experts that I trusted to tell me how to do this. Short, sweet, to the point, and do it as late as you can. And for me, it worked out.
Thank you, Mitch. I think every situation is its own unique situation. So there isn't a rule book or a playbook for any of these really intimate and important conversations that people have about living their best life on this campus. But certainly you have a very valid story, and I appreciate you sharing it. There's another question that came in that said, who decides what kind of care I need? And I'd actually like to take a stab at that one, if you guys would let me. Who decides what kind of care you need is you. Everything that we do here stems from what matters most to each individual resident. So in developing relationships with the people that live here, we get to know what matters most to them and how they want to live their best day. And then we can identify, okay, if A, B, and C are what are the most important things to you, well, how can you get A, B, and C in your life? And we look at all the options, but ultimately it's the resident's choice. There was another question that came in about vaccination policies. Hannah, I saw in the chat that can you share a little bit about that for everyone, and Rhonda, also you as well?
Sure thing. So specifically for Houseworks caregivers, since we do have that partnership with Newbridge and Hebrew Senior Life, we're following Newbridge guidance specifically, as well as CDC guidelines. So that being said, I know at this point we have 100 caregivers in Newbridge who are boosted. And so we are following that guidance. I believe by February 28th, all caregivers are required to be boosted in order to work at Newbridge. So the answer to that is essentially yes, everybody will be boosted.
Thank you.
And relatedly, Hebrew Senior Life, as you may know, was one of the first healthcare organizations in the state to require the full vaccination as a condition of employment. So all of our employees have both vaccinations and or one if it's J&J. And we also, as a condition of employment, are requiring the boosters as recommended by CDC guidelines. So as Hannah just said very well, almost all have the booster, and all will have the booster by February 28th as a condition of employment to keep everybody safe and well.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure. And maybe it would be helpful to add that as of about 2 weeks ago, as far as we know, there are no residents or staff members across the entire Newbridge campus with COVID. We've been COVID-free as a campus for about 2 weeks now. Want to keep it that way.
Oh, yeah, right. That was a
big sigh.
That was a well-earned 2-year sigh, Rhonda.
Yes.
Okay, a chat came in directly to me asking, how does the money work when you move from independent to assisted living? So when you move to independent living, you pay an entrance fee that stays exactly where you leave it when you move into independent living until you leave the campus. So until you either move away from Newbridge or pass away, your money stays right where it is when you move into independent living. If you transition to assisted or long-term care, then you start paying that monthly fee. If you need to use your entrance fee to supplement your payments, you can do that. And we would set you up with our director of finance to work out those details. Okay, we got another chat question here. Are there nurses on during the weekend in assisted living?
Yes, there are nurses every day of the week, 7 days a week, from 7:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. And we have, they are available, our director of nursing, by phone if ever needed. We do have 24/7, 365 certified nursing assistants here. So throughout every day of the year, but the nurses are 12 hours a day and then on call if ever needed. I should also add, you may be familiar with our wonderful security team, and that is the same as they respond in independent living. They respond to residents in independent living if they need assistance getting up or are not feeling well. The emergency responders are right here, and that's another very important part of our offering here.
Thanks, Rhonda. Those are all the questions that came in advance of our presentation. I'll pass it back to Judy and/or ask myself, are there any other last minute questions, comments, feedback? Yes, one just came in to me. I'm going to share it with everyone. How many 1-bedroom and 2-bedroom apartments are available in assisted living? Ha, that's a different question.
Oh, available right now?
Yeah, I thought it was what's the total, but it's available.
Yeah, well, I looked at the totals today and some of them are spoken for, so I don't have the up to the minute, who's already put their name down for the apartments. But today, as of this moment, we have 4 available apartments in traditional assisted living and 3 in memory care. I think most of them are spoken for, but I think a couple of them don't have somebody's name on them yet. So hope that helps. There's a total of 87 if you're interested. Also, there's 51 apartments in traditional assisted living and 36 apartments in memory care.
Great.
Well, thanks, Rhonda. That was that's an important number to remember also. And in the few minutes that we have left, I would like to invite anyone who is here this afternoon or has received the flyer about today. Remember that it's being recorded. So if you weren't able to be on the Zoom, please take advantage of that. And our work is just going to be continuing. Our work being the ambassadors group, and we welcome new people with new ideas who would like to join us in a way to pass the word and continue the education process. It's ongoing as we have new residents move to independent living. It's important that everyone gets a picture of the entire campus, its offerings, and its supportive care. So please get in touch with Tara and let us know. Many of you perhaps have already taken advantage of Tara's Newbridge 101 monthly discussion. And they're also what we had done in the past, and I perhaps will resume if committee agrees, to have small group meetings held in the assisted living dining room so that people have an opportunity to come in and see what the facility looks like and get a beginning sense of that process. So please let us know if you'd like to join us, and we'll let you know when our next meeting is. And we look forward to further educational topics such as today.
Judy, thank you.
Tara?
Yeah, thank you for being such an amazing host. Thank you to all the expert speakers that shared their time today. And I wanted to just pull a slide up on the screen with the names and contact numbers of everyone who shared today. If you choose to reach out to them privately, they're very willing to have conversations with you. So I'm going to share it now.
Tara, before you do that,
Yeah.
another question came up on the chat just now.
Oh, thank you. Is it an easy one?
Rhonda can answer it in a moment.
Okay.
Yes, let me just pull
What is
this
it?
up to be sure. So the second resident fee is $2,900 per
I
month,
see.
$2,900 per month.
Great. Very good. Okay, thank you. All right, so I'm going to share my screen so you can see the list of speakers. And as always, we're here for you as a resource. We work for you. Let me know, let us know if there's anything we can do to help you make yeah.
My
Wrong
phone number is an old number.
All right, let's change it.
978
Okay.
460
Yeah.
7036.
How do you like that?
I love it.
Excellent. Very good. Well, thank you. I will say thank you to our panel. Thank you to everyone who joined us. Enjoy the rest of the afternoon. And remember, this is going to be the last 22 for a long time. So enjoy the day.
Thanks, Judy, and thanks, Tara, and thanks for everybody to join us.
Yes,
Thank
thank
you.
you so much.
Thank you, Mitch.
Thank you all.
Have a good day.
Hannah. I
I'm
guess
just
we're-
I'm just holding on because I don't want to pull the numbers off yet. So
right. Oh, we have 4 minutes, 3 minutes, I guess.
yeah, nice job, everyone.
Thank you.
Well,
Wow.
good to
38
see.
people.
How many?
38.
Oh, David just came in. He was on another computer watching, and 38 people were on. Did you get that head count? Right.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think we have 3 still with us.
yeah. Michael Gordon, Arlene, Fran Winnig. Yeah, it was great.
Oh,
Participating.
And I saw
Yeah.
Rabbi Judy taking names.
Oh, oh boy.
yeah.
When the rabbi's
Good.
taking names.
Right.
David, didn't your wife do an amazing job?
He did very well. Did very well.
My God, you're such a natural, Judy.
Really
Oh,
excellent.
no. Well, it's certainly, it wasn't that hard because we've been living with it for a number of years now. And it was just a matter of hopefully getting the organization done. I hope it worked out. It seemed to go okay.
It went very, very well. I'm so pleased. I'm so
Oh,
pleased.
good. Oh, I'm glad.
Yeah. Wow.
You all for putting it together. It seemed so simple, but a lot of work went into organizing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Sharing.
Well, the person who really I didn't mention today, but the person who really germinated the idea of calling ourselves ambassadors
Mhm.
is no longer a resident. He and his wife were residents in independent living and relocated so that he was not able to continue his work, but he suggested it to us at a very early meeting based on his own experience of doing something like this at Dana-Farber Cancer Center as a volunteer.
Right.
And they referred to the group of people that he was working with as ambassadors, helping staff, an extra hand or an extra mouth for staff to help people orient and find out questions that they may have before they actually were registered as patients in the hospital. So that's where it all started
Yeah.
in 2018. It was kind of fun. It was fun. Luckily, I had taken notes, so it was fun to look back and see what we talked about. And one of them was, how can we get the message out? So
Yeah. Hopefully he'd be very proud if he knew you're carrying
yeah.
this forward.
Oh, I think so. I think he would be happy to know that we were able to continue to do that. And new faces here, new faces in all of the residences really made it important, I think, to at least offer the opportunity. So
And so
38
many
people, I think, is exciting.
Yeah.
Very happy to know that.
That's great.
Excellent. Excellent.
And Hannah, you did a great job of presenting the overview of Houseworks, and so true, you know, really a great partner. And
Thank you. Thank you. Likewise,
Yeah.
this was actually, I just am realizing as we were talking about this, this is my first virtual presentation ever. So thank you guys.
Oh, good job.
it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's different. It's a different feeling because I only saw the few people at the beginning, not the whole group, and not knowing who else is listening or being able to, of course, if you're live now, you don't see facial expressions anyway. So that's
Right.
not a good cue.
Right.
Probably see more facial expressions, obviously, on Zoom without masks than
True.
otherwise.
True.
Good, true.
Yeah.
And I'll just
Thank you
comment,
guys so
Tara.
much.
Oh, go ahead. Hannah,
No,
were you
I
gonna?
just wanted to thank you so much for inviting me into this. I think this was great. And it also, the ambassadors program in general, I think just speaks to how wonderful of a community Newbridge is. And I'm impressed by it every day I walk in there. So thank you for making me a part of it.
Great.
Oh,
Sure, it was
Well
wonderful. We'll find other
Well,
opportunities to work together.
yes.
I'm sure. And Tara, you did
Yeah.
an awesome job of writing concise answers to all the chat questions and explaining, and really quite a
So
yeah.
we have some.
talent.
All right. Thank you. We'll have some time on Thursday to take a little deeper dive and say what went well, what might we do differently next time.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you all again.
You too.
Thank you, Tara.
Shabbat shalom.
Happy 2/22/22.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you
Bye,
all.
everyone. Have a good afternoon.
You
Bye.
too.
And evening.